Hello students, welcome to this session. In this session I will be explaining a concept called as what is context switching. Context switching is a concept where we have only one CPU or one processor where we will have multiple processes to execute. We have multiple processes like I want to execute VLC player and I want to execute MS Word, MS Excel. I have 3 or 4 processes that has to be executed. When you have these 3 processes has to be executed, we'll have the concept called as switching. Switching, I told you, once you stop the executing process, if process 1 is executing, if I stop that and if I try to execute the other process, so we are switching from one process to other process. That concept is called as switching. Now, so to do that, we'll be using a concept called as context switching. What is context switching is? Example, you just consider whenever I'll take the example of your Android phone itself. Whenever you consider your Android phone, suppose say you are using some software or any software, like say you are playing some game. When you are playing some game, what happens is you'll suddenly come back to your main menu or home screen. The previous app what you are using, that is your game, it will go back to the background. Okay, and after coming to home page, if you go back to that particular game again, where it has stopped, it will start from the same position, right? It is going to start from the same position. Or you can consider any other examples, like when you open any app, any particular app, say for example YouTube or something. So you are watching some video and instead of going, you will switch from YouTube app to some other app. When you switch from this particular app to other application, what happens is the current state of the application should be saved, so that whenever you come back or whenever you're starting using that app again, previous state you can see it again. Okay, so that is context switching is a concept where we're going to save the state of the object. So we're going to store the state of a given process. So the process is in which state? So we have discussed many states like a new, ready to run, and running, waiting state, as well as dead state. We have different states there. So now we need to, based on that, we need to consider what is the context of the particular process. That is, currently how much memory it was used, what are the number of instructions was executed, where we have stopped. Those type of details has to be stored. So to do that, we'll be using this concept called as context switching. Context switching is a process when we are switching from one process to other process. We are going to save the state of the process, or we are going to save the context of the process. So example, I have taken they have given example of 2 processes. Say for example, I have process 0 and process 1. So 2 processes are there. Okay, this process will be executed by your CPU. So CPU is going to select any one process for execution. This is your queue, or it will be your memory. So from in the memory I have 2 processes, process 0 and process 1. So and I need to execute, it should be executed by your CPU. When it has to be executed by your CPU, say in this example, so first P0 is under execution. This arrow represents it is under execution. When P0 is under execution, that is process 0 is currently used by CPU. Okay, CPU is executing process 0. In between there is an interrupt. Interrupt in the sense, as I told you, if you want to say for example there is some like say system calls. There is some system calls, or there is some events that has to occur, say like input or output function, or there is a new event that has occurred. As I told you in the previous example, when you plug in a pen drive, when you come across the system calls, what happens is we'll call that as an interrupt. So interrupt is that is a system call or any event that has occurred. Like say this process wants some input functions to take, or it wants to read some file. In that case, those things will consider as interrupt. So when the interrupt comes, we'll go for the second thing called as save the P0. In the sense, the process 0 was which state? In the sense, for example, in process 0 I have 100 lines of code. In that I have executed only first 50 lines. Next 50 lines of code is pending. Okay, so now we are going to store this like say this state, that is, so this process has completed how many lines? 50 lines of code. Rest of the 50 lines are pending. It has not been completed. So we are going to save that state. After saving that state, so we're going to see that the CPU will be idle, in the sense once we save that state, the process P0 will be removed from CPU and it is going to say that they are going to save the state. Now CPU will be what? It will be idle. Idle in the sense it is not going to execute any process, it is empty. So instead of making that as empty, we are going to load or reload one more process called as P1. That is, P1 was when P0 was executing, P1 was idle. Okay, it was not executing, it was simply in the memory. Now this P0 will be, or P1 will be loaded into CPU. That is, once P0 goes to idle state, so the CPU will execute P1. Okay, so P0 has gone to idle state, that is, it has some interrupt, so we will push that into idle state. So while P0 is in idle state, we will take the second process, that is P1. So P1 will be executing. While P1 is executing, again if we get any interrupt, we are going to save the state of the P1. P1 state will be stored. Okay, and then we are going to select P0 for execution. Okay, so this type of process, that is, this type of process from switching from one process to other process is considered as context switching. So context switching is a process where whenever you are executing any process, two process or three processes at the same time, when you want to switch from one process to other process, we are going to store the state of the current process or the details of the current process in some memory location for further use. Okay, hope this is clear. And the next topic I'm going to explain about the process and process creations. Coming to the next topic is operations on process or process operations. That we are going to discuss three different types of operations, like creation, termination, as well as cooperative process. So what is creation? Creation is when the process is created. Okay, when we are going to support the operating system is going to create a process. Example is simply to say, on the desktop, if you are going to see many icons, you'll have icons for my computer, you'll have icons for many other functions or many other programs. When you click on any particular icon, it is nothing but you are generating an event or you are generating a system call. Okay, so you are creating a system call and saying the operating system that I want to execute this process. So that is what you're basically doing there. Whenever you're doing any event like click or key press or something like that, whenever you do something on the computer, each and everything will create a system call. So when you create any program, it is going to call this function, or that process will consider as process creation. So process creation. So when process creation happens is based on the system call. Whenever the user clicks or something happens, then we are going to create a process. Once a process is created, basically in Unix operating system, we are going to use something called as fork. So what is fork is? Fork is a system call. So fork is a system call that is used to create a process. Whenever I want to create a process, a function will be called, or a system function will be called. The system function call is called as fork. Okay, this system call, so again this process we have two things. One is parent process, so other one is child process. Okay, so we have two types of processes. One is parent process, other one is child process. So parent processes, for example, every process will have something called as PID. This we have discussed, like process number in previous, that is PCB, when I was explaining process content, and when I was explaining PCB, I told you about what is process ID. Process ID is a unique number given for every process. When a new process is created, for that process we are going to give some number that will be used by your operating system for its reference. So this process ID will be created when a new process is created. Now we have two different types of process, like parent process and then child process. Example, what is the use of child process and what is the parent processes? If a new program or process starts, like say for example, MS Word has started. MS Word is a new software or application program that you have started. So this is a process. Okay, it has its own ID. Now once that is created, under MS Word you will have several other sub process, like when you create a mail merge, or when you want to do spell check, or when you want to do other functions like counting the number of words, which page you are in, or when you are trying to print the value. So these are the things that you have as a separate child process. In the sense, when you want to print this onto your printer, you are doing some input output function there. So we have process 1 that is executing MS Word. There is one more process that will be child process that is used for printing the content on the printer. Okay, so when the process is executing, this P1 will be acting as parent process and P2 will be acting as child process. That is, P1 is a basic process under which we are going to have sub processes or sub functions. So that will be executed, for which it is going to create a separate process. Okay, so this type of representation will be considered as parent-child processes. Okay, so whenever a new process is created, we are going to call it as fork. Fork system call is generated. Once the fork system call is generated, the operating system is going to create a process ID for each and every process that has been created. And when executing any process, if the process wants to do more than one function, or it wants to execute sub functions or other input output functions, other different types of functions it has to do, then instead of the same process doing the function, we are going to divide, we are going to create sub process, so that 2 or more functions can be done simultaneously. For that purpose, we are going to create more than one process, which are like your child process. Okay, once child processes are created, we can do the functions much better, or the performance of the operating system will improve better whenever you are having child processes. Okay, so this is about what is child process, parent process and child process. Next, coming for termination. So when termination happens, when happens is, once if the process has completed its execution, then the process will be terminated by your operating system. Or second way is, when some interrupt occurs, when some unwanted event happens, or your program or process is not executing properly. In that case also, we are going to terminate the process, which will be forcefully terminated by the user, or it will be terminated by the operating system itself. That is about termination. Termination is, once the program has completed its execution or process has completed its execution, we are going to remove that process from the execution, which is called as process termination. Okay, back to cooperative process. These are the processes. In this type of process, what happens is, we have different types of process. Some process which is not going to support any other process, like which does not depend on any other process. Okay, those kind of processes. And some process we are going to depend on other process. For example, if you consider, whenever you are executing something, like when you have Gmail or something like that, when you have your Gmail account, this kind of Gmail account, what happens is, when you send a mail from your mobile app, the same thing will be updated in your software that is you can see in your phone. Say phone also, that is a browser also, you can open your Gmail and you can